Good morning and welcome. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Salem. Wow, it's so cool to be able to say that in front of actual people, as well as to our friends who are watching us via live stream. Well, we did it last Sunday. We reopened and survived. So here we are again. You know, this could become like a habit, like a spiritual discipline. Showing up every Sunday together to worship and nurture those person-to-person connections. What do you think? Yeah? All right. Cool. So now I'm actually one of those people that actually likes Zoom and like what's been able to offer us, but I have to admit, it's pretty cool to see you all sitting here. So thank you for your presence here today, and welcome. Oh, by the way, in case you or anyone watching is interested, is concerned, we are doing our best to keep us all safe by social distancing. There's plenty of space. We have carefully measured out, even this morning we are measuring, between the speakers or the singers and musicians and the audience members. And although you see us speaking without our masks, the audience, the congregants in the audience are fully masked. So no worries there. So thank you.
As Sarah said, we are being very careful about safety issues, so we would like you, as we sing our opening hymn, to remain masked and to sing softly or hum. Our opening hymn is "With Joy We Claim the Growing Light." It's number 345 in the gray hymnal. Please rise in body or spirit.
With joy we claim the growing light, advancing thought and widening view, the larger freedom, clearer sight, which from the old unfold the new. With wider view come loftier goal, with fuller light, more good to see, with freedom, truer self-control, with knowledge, deeper reverence be.
Good morning. Spirit of life, be present with us this hour. Join us today as we gather in a wider search for truth and purpose. In this quest, may we greet one another with open hearts and minds. May we inspire each other to consider new questions and seek deeper meaning. May we cultivate wisdom and compassion. Let all who enter this sanctuary see a welcome face, hear a kind word, and find comfort in this community. And may all that is done and said here today be in service and justice. Let us join together quietly to say together our affirmation. Love is our doctrine. Compassion is our way. Here we seek to create a joyful home for free religious exploration, build a community of caring fellowship, nurture the hopes, and serve the needs of our world. A chalice lit in our midst is a symbol of our liberal faith, a faith built on the foundations of freedom, reason, and welcome, a faith sustained by acts of kindness and justice, a faith that envisions a world flourishing with equality for all people, a faith that demands the living out of goodness, a faith that requires thoughtfulness, a faith of wholeness. This tiny flame is a symbol of the spark of all this within each of us. Each week, we light 3 chalices. The first is for this congregation, the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Salem. We light our second chalice for our partner church in Šemen-Falva, Transylvania, Romania. And we light our third chalice for our children and youth in lifespan religious education and in our world at large. Let us sing and hum the flame into life.
Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy.
So, as you may notice, that unfortunately there are no children right now in the sanctuary, if I can say it correctly, sanctuary with us, which we are sad about, and we look forward to the time when they will be with us again. However, they are not far from us. They are down the hall in the RE wing having religious education in person, which is for the first time in over a year. So that's pretty exciting too. And while they're doing that, we won't be having time for all ages, but in order that we can remember the connection between them and us, we would like to start a small ritual that they're preparing on today. And so that will be, you'll see that next week, hopefully. It's going to be a small exchange with something they're creating with the children's chalice, just like when we do the Love Arch. So there'll be a little bit of a connection until they come back with us. Compassion. To have compassion for another, we need to have compassion for ourselves. Nurture ourselves so that we can recognize and gently hold our times of loss or suffering. By doing this, we can recognize others' suffering and be present for them. Through compassion, we share our human experiences. As Pema Chodron says, the only reason we don't open our hearts and minds to other people is that they trigger confusion in us, and we don't feel brave enough or sane enough to deal with it. To the degree that we look clearly and compassionately at ourselves, we feel confident and fearless about looking into someone else's eyes. Be compassionate with yourself. Nurture yourself so that you may nurture others. One way to nurture yourself is through gratitude. Be they small daily acts or large thoughtful gestures. Anything that causes you to feel joy, peace, gratitude, energizes not only your life, but the lives of others. Deborah Emery writes that she is over the moon that vaccinations will allow family visits this coming June. During these COVID times, when we may not be seeing people in person as much as we would like, you can still do acts of gratitude. Something that I have read about and have been doing this year is each month writing one card or letter to someone who is special in my life, telling them why and how they have helped me in some way. It does take a stamp, but as it is becoming more and more rare to receive an actual letter in the mail, such a gesture could mean the world to the recipient. The act of writing and sending nurtures you, and the act of receiving nurtures the other. Practicing compassion and gratitude nurtures compassion and gratitude. May it be so. And please continue to share your joys and concerns on the website so that we may all share in your experience. Thank you.
Our pastoral hymn today is Calm Soul of All Things. It's number 88 in the gray hymnal. You may remain seated. Please sing softly or hum.
Come, soul of all things, make it mine to feel amid the city's charm that there abides a peace of thine. I did not make and cannot mar. The will to neither strive nor cry, the power to feel with others give. Come, come me more, nor let me die before I have begun to live.
Rules for being human. You will receive a body. You may love it or hate it, but it will be yours for the duration of your life on earth. 2, you will learn lessons. You are enrolled in a full-time informal school called Life. Each day in this school, you will have the opportunity to learn lessons. You may like the lessons or hate the lessons, but you have designed them as part of your curriculum. 3, there are no mistakes, only lessons. Growth is a process of experimentation, a series of trials, errors, and occasional victories. The failed experiments are as much a part of the process as the experiments that work. 4, a lesson is repeated until learned. Lessons will be repeated to you in various forms until you have learned them. When you have learned them, you can go on to the next lesson. 5, learning lessons does not end. There is no part of life that does not contain lessons. If you are alive, there are lessons to be learned. 6, there is no better than here. When your there has become here, you will simply obtain another there that will look better to you than your present here. 7, others are merely mirrors of you. You cannot love or hate something about another person unless it reflects something you love or hate about yourself. 8, what you make of your life is up to you. You have all the tools and resources you need. What you do with them is up to you. 9, your answers lie inside of you. All you need to do is look, listen, and trust. 10, you will forget all of this, but you can remember anytime you wish.
Thank you, Brenna. That was nice. We probably need to go over that a few times, right? So I usually don't like disclaimers before speeches, particularly this kind of a speech where we're supposed to be here for inspiration and to bolster ourselves for the upcoming week. But in this case, I think it's called for. What I'm going to talk about is what I do for 40 hours a week and get paid to do, working as an occupational therapist at Oregon State Hospital. But before you get too excited about learning about the secrets of the cuckoo's nest, let me explain. This is not a gossip column discussion. I will be telling stories to help illustrate understandings that I have come to. But that's what they are, stories. So if you recognize someone you know or someone you've read about, realize that you are experiencing the connection that is in all of us, that we are all human with human experiences, and there, for the grace of God, go I. So since we're all friends here, at least I hope we are, I want to let you in on a little secret about myself. I like socks. All kinds of socks, with all kinds of patterns. Janet knows me well. She is nodding her head. She knows I like socks. And you don't believe me? Just ask me sometime to see my socks, and likely there will be some sort of pattern on them. And if you're ever looking for a gift from me, socks are probably a good way to go. I tell you this to set the stage for the early experience I had getting to know people and my transition from being an intern at Oregon State Hospital to being an employee and a therapist. Although I was now an employee, I was working in a different program than I'd been as an intern. And so I'm ashamed to admit, at that stage of my life, I was a little nervous about being around certain people. Well, maybe not people as much as diagnoses. Yeah, I think that was the thing. I was a little nervous about diagnoses. I was afraid of what might happen to me, I guess. So anyway, one day, I was co-leading a group with a music therapist, and they got called away to the phone. Shows you kind of how long ago it was. They got called away to the phone. Anyway, I was left alone with a group of people, and it was the first time that I was going to actually end a group by myself, so I was already a little nervous. And then this one person asked if they could say something. Oh no, I thought, here it comes. What gross, horrible thing is going to come out of their mouth? I braced myself and said a tentative yes, and then they said it. The one thing I was most dreading. Your socks are sexy. Wait, what? My socks are sexy? I had to look down a little bit and compose myself. I couldn't see them, but I was laughing. Okay, so, now what am I supposed to do, right? I raised my head and looked into the eyes, not of a crazed sex maniac about to attack me, but a scared, socially awkward person who was trying to make a connection, person to person. Now, wait, before you tell me about your clinical practice and you've seen lots of people with foot fetishes and sock fetishes, let me reassure you, in this case, this was not the case. It was simply someone trying to say hi, and this was the best they could do. I am forever grateful to that person for clearing away any scary preconceived notions I had about any diagnosis. I started my path on seeing them as people. OSH has a mission statement. It talks about hope, recovery, and reintegration of patients into the community. There is a responsibility working at OSH to have strong personal and professional boundaries. This is harder sometimes than you might think. Its logo, people helping people, really kind of covers it. People are helping people. We are doing our best to help people who are struggling. Sometimes there is success and sometimes there are failings. I work as an occupational therapist, helping people with emotional wellness, developing coping skills, helping with community transitioning, among other things. In OT, we have a concept called therapeutic use of self. The art of this is to connect with the patient on a human level while not giving too much personal information that it interferes with the patient's recovery. Imagine you are working with a person who has a tendency towards being paranoid and has auditory hallucinations. You tell them that you can understand them and can be safe to talk to because you both have brown hair. depending on their place in recovery or personality preferences for deep sharing of personal information, they could possibly feel relief for being told they have someone to talk to. Or this statement could send them off on a delusional tailspin. If you're safe, then others aren't. And that agrees with what the TV has been telling me, that I'm no good and people are out to get me. And you have just proved that is correct by saying you're a safe person to talk to because we both have brown hair. You can see how this could be dangerous to both the patient as well as to yourself professionally. Therapeutic use of self suggests that you can be there for the person, but the focus is on them, not you. As an occupational therapist, I and many other types of therapists offer environments and experiences that foster hope, healing, and connecting with others. One of the groups I offer uses Tai Chi as the modality. Although it can focus on physical balance and strength, I have noticed that more often, for those who like it, the experience gives them a way in for emotional wellness. In looking at therapeutic use of self from a spiritual perspective, the term seva, a Sanskrit word for selfless service, comes to mind. The idea that one's spiritual life and work are combined to provide service to God and to humankind, to not hurt, but to support and help, possibly foster hope. The Buddhists have a similar idea when they talk about right livelihood of your vocation, not doing harm to others. When everything is going smoothly, even if they are not aware of it or consciously decide to be selfless, this is what people are doing who are working at OSH. I have felt this occur when getting through all the layers of distress, fear, and worry that engulf many of the lives that reside there, and for a moment are able to connect human to human, soul to soul. I have seen all levels of staff do this over the years, and the experience is hard to describe, but you can sense it when it's there, when the connection is there, and when possible, you have made a difference. Sometimes it's just your presence that makes a difference. I remember this one time there was this person who was very intrusive, both in action and verbally, making demands, threats, not seeming in control of themselves. One day, I was sitting with them, trying to get answers from them to get my work done. I was focused on this form that needed to be filled out, but they kept getting me derailed, and we were both getting frustrated. So I stopped filling out the form and listened. Just sat back and listened. Didn't interrupt or contradict, didn't try and make sense of what was being said, just sat and listened, figuring they would talk themselves out. 5 minutes. 10. Stop looking at the clock, I told myself. Just breathe and listen. 15. 20. Wait. What are they saying? What are they communicating? It's an emotion. 30. 35. There's a theme. They are trying to tell me something. What is it? Is it grandiosity? No, it's something more basic. It seems like fear. themselves are afraid, just afraid of life and wanting to feel safe. Could it be that simple? That basic a need? Finally, after an hour, they stopped. We stared at each other for what seemed like an eternity. And then their facial expression softened, and they said, "Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me." Now, what was it you wanted? I replied, thanking them for trusting me with their story, acknowledging all they had been through, and how well they had coped with all that life had given them. And then I paused and said that I wanted them to know that they could be safe here, to try and trust that they will be safe here, and that they can take the time to heal and feel renewed before they have to go and face whatever it is they have to face when they leave. I said, forget about the paper. It doesn't matter, we can do that later. I just wanted them to know that they are safe and that they can trust the people that work here. Afterwards, as I was reflecting on this interaction, I thought about how easy it is to get caught up in the business of the day and forget to allow the process of healing to occur, as it often occurs when and where you least expect it, when it is ready and not before. And I realized how much the interaction with them had affected me as well as affecting them. I had felt true compassion for them and wanted them to know they were being taken care of and were safe, and that I could offer that sense of safety to them. But it wasn't like me, Sarah, who had come up with a superhero cape and saved the day. No, it was bigger than that. I felt like I was being a conduit for this feeling of safety to this other person. Safety and love. The love a mother might feel for their child. A universal protective love for another being. And it felt good. This type of experience feels like one is in a conduit role because it is their responsibility to take that experience inside of themselves and determine if it was helpful for them. It's not based on a deep personal relationship between the two of you. It's okay to connect compassionately, but leave work at work. Realize that you are helpful, but if you are not there, the hospital will survive. Much like the spiritual journey. You may grow from experiences and you may help situations, but you cannot do it alone. And if you are not there, someone else will pick up what you are doing. Not to say your presence isn't important, it is, but to realize that you are a conduit through which the good work is done. Leo Tolstoy touches on this on his book, The Death of Ivan Ilyich. There's a character in there named Gerasim, a servant, who helps Ivan not because he wants anything in return, but because he sees another person in distress and feels compassion for what he is going through. Some patients don't stay long. Some you see only during their only admission. Others come back a few times. and some stay for many years. Though it always lightens the situation when you remind them that you will be there longer than they will. Sometimes those people that stay a long time touch you in ways that you would never dream of until they are gone. Bertie came to us 15 years ago or so and wound up on my unit almost immediately. A tall, skinny, middle-aged woman who liked to laugh, encourage others, and be the center of attention, yet didn't like the attention being directed towards herself, her own life experiences or emotions, or why she was here. We were told, better not to ask. She fit in superficially with the rest of the crowd, a little younger than most of our clientele, but everyone loved her charming smile, and she was good at listening to others' stories, telling little jokes, doing the correct social Southern manners she had grown up with. At first, she wasn't supposed to stay long, the thought being likely she'd wind up in prison. But weeks grew into months, and finally it was decided it was better she stay, and stay on our unit. So if she were going to stay, maybe we should get to know a little bit about her background. The psychiatrist read the whole report and told us, as the rest of the team, that it might be better if we didn't. No, because it would be hard to work with her possibly as a person if we did know everything. But I, as did many team members, went ahead and read, trying to stay as objective as possible, trying to ignore the graphic details of what had occurred, trying to ignore the voice in our heads as we imagined what her victims had done or said, trying to separate the images on the page from the woman we knew. I think many of us put it in a little box in our brains and locked it away. And so Bertie became a part of our lives. She grew up as an only child in an ultra-conservative religious family, born to older parents in the deep South. The type of family where outside appearances are more important than what's really going on. So the abuse was ignored, or not believed, or maybe not even known while it was happening. Why on her? Who knows? But you can't help but believe that the experiences she had growing up, combined with probable genetic predisposition, created the person that she became and found herself with us 15 years ago. How she wound up in Oregon, we aren't quite sure. Probably like many women before her, a combination of turning to the oldest profession in the world and following where it took her. So we worked with her on her weight and eating habits, discouraged dependent tendencies, once in a while questioned to see if she knew what she had done or how she felt, but mostly let the sleeping bear lie. She got involved with art shows, smiling and feeling genuine pride when others would compliment her work. When we had to make room for other patients that were coming in, we sent her off for groups in other parts of the hospital where she'd have more peers, maybe even be challenged a little. She didn't like it, but adapted. And then we had to tell her that she had to go live in another program. And again, she adapted, or so we thought. She started not eating again and lost all the weight she had gained. But she also got involved with patient pay work and really involved with a group that nationally focuses on auditory hallucinations and how to live with them. She also developed an extensive social network, writing to peers in and out of the hospital. And then a few months ago, she came back to us. Said she was no longer Bertie, but Roberta. She had to give up some of the privileges she had enjoyed, but she seemed glad to be back too. Be back where she could sort of be top dog and not have a lot of younger folks challenging her. And then our population changed again. You could see the scared look in her eyes as she watched these new people come. What would they do? How would they react? How would this affect her life? Recently, I introduced her to logic problems. She didn't do them exactly correctly, but she liked them, and she liked talking about them. She told me a story about her grandparents meeting during the Depression in a big city in a manufacturing company. I went home for the weekend. She died. What did she leave me with? Remember to support the person, not the crime. So, what have I learned the past almost 20 years working there? Not to be so judgmental about people, systems, possibilities. You cannot save the entire world by yourself, but you can find the nooks and crannies within a workday where there can be moments of deep human connection, deep listening. Don't think much about the connection between spiritual journey and working at OSH, but if you stop and look at it, it's there, hidden, quiet. Your very presence affecting people, whether you or even they are aware of it. How often have we heard Reverend Rick say that our presence makes a difference? What would happen in your daily life if you took that as the truth? Thich Nhat Hanh agrees with our minister, stating that the most precious gift you can give is your true presence. Moments of grace can occur, but can't necessarily be sought after. This too will change. People change, dynamics change, systems change. Change is constant. So be patient. Be curious. Be in beginner's mind. Having the honor of working at OSH and adapting to the change that is ever present reminds me of the constant lesson that spiritual growth is what you are doing daily in your life. As I was told once, appreciate yourself. Appreciate the journey you are on. And appreciate the integrity and authenticity in which you walk your path. I invite you now to take a breath. Maybe close your eyes and take a deep breath and let go. Let go of any stigmas, worries you have for yourself or others, any concepts you're holding on to about how people should or should not act, and just be here. Here in this room, wherever you are sitting or standing, just be here a moment and feel the air around you. Feel your clothes where they touch your body. Feel the chair or floor. Now listen. What do you hear? Your breathing, your heart rate, maybe traffic or the sounds of electronics, maybe others who are speaking in the same room as you, or maybe there's music or animals. Just take a moment and listen. And now, take a breath and go deep inside of you. Deep inside where you feel connected to others. Feel that connect and just be for a moment. And now take one last breath and repeat to yourself, I appreciate myself. I appreciate the journey I am on. And I appreciate the integrity and authenticity which I walk the path. Amen.
We support UUCS through our pledges, our time, and connections with one another. We support the Salem community through donations to the Marion Polk Food Share, and for the month of May, our Lifespan Religious Education Fund. Please send your checks to UUCS or visit the website to donate. Thank you for maintaining the community of UUCS and for helping the wider community of Salem.
Listen to my story, told so many years ago. Follow me so closely, not too high, not too low. Sun shines bright above us, though it's only wind and wave. We can fight to freedom, spend everything we made. Oh, fly with me, oh, escape this ancient maze. These wings I've made for you, my son, will free you of this plague. Listen to my warning. Please beware the ocean spray. Be wary of morning. Beware of sun's deadly rays. We will fly together. You go first, I'm right behind. With only wax and feather, we can start our brand new lives. Oh, fly with me. Oh, fly with me. Escape this ancient maze. For you lie wings, for you, my son, will free you of this plague. Fly away, fly away, fly away, stay close to me. Fly away, fly away, fly away, stay close to me.
We take the light from our chalice, lighting the social justice lantern as a symbolic reminder of the light and justice that we carry out into the world. As we extinguish the chalices, let us hear these words by Duke Gray. The blessing of the truth be upon us. The power of love direct us and sustain us. And may the peace of this community preserve our going out and our coming in from this time forth until we meet again.
Thank you, Brenna. And first off, let's give a nice round of applause to John Schoenberg. We got him out from the sound booth, finally, with Greg Dodds, and also to Nikela, our guest accompanist. Thank you all very much. Wonderful. So, be sure and after you leave here today, be sure and tune into the Zoom fellowship gathering that's starting at 2 o'clock now on Zoom, which you can still do. And there's a way to register so that you get weekly emails from our Anna Talley if you'd like to start joining that group. It's a nice group. As you people who are in person noticed, we are in person now, which is nice, which is lovely. For good or bad, you still do have to register every week, so be sure that you do. And then also be aware that when you do come in, you'll be asked to wear masks, you'll be asked to answer the typical questions that we're asked everywhere now, and hosts are always available to help you, guide you to your seats. Also, just want to point out that if you are here in person and you would like to donate, you are free to do so at the end of the service. There's a basket if you're exiting through this door, and there's also a basket up front if you're exiting through that door. So you may notice that the welcome slides this past year have had art pieces on them, and the art committee is requesting that we continue to send in our pieces, regardless of whether you feel that they're good or not. Send them in. Keep the connections going. It's fabulous. Flower Communion is next Sunday, and this year we are combining what we did last year with the flower video. Thank you all for sending in pictures. You have until tomorrow if you haven't sent in a flower picture and you'd like to. But also, we're also combining an in-person flower communion like we usually do. So be sure and bring your flowers with you if you come. It's fabulous. Annual meeting, this will be the following Sunday, the 13th, and you can now go on the website to register for that. You do have to register for that meeting, so be sure and do that. And if you need to check on your voting status, you can do it at the same time. UUCS is sponsoring a General Assembly Delegate Forum via Zoom. It's coming Wednesday, June 9th at 7 p.m. So apparently if I want to attend that, I have to stop my connections group short. We'll figure that out at the time. So be sure and check that out, how to do that. Next Saturday, I believe, June 5th, come and help with the Corden Road cleanup. And Social Justice Team is always looking for ideas and things that we can do to support our social justice in the community. Thank you.
Our closing hymn today is Seek Not Afar for Beauty. It's number 77 in the gray hymnal. Please rise in body or spirit and remember to sing softly or hum.
Seek not afar for beauty, lo, it glows in dew-wet grasses all about your feet, in birds in sunshine, childish faces sweet, in stars and mountain summits topped with snows. Go not abroad for happiness, behold, it is a flower blooming at your door. Bring love and laughter home and evermore. Joy shall be yours as changing years unfold. In wonder workings or some bush of flame, we look for truth and fancy it concealed. But in earth's common things it stands revealed, while grass and flowers and stars spell out the name.
Let us imagine joining hands with our community members, guests, family, and friends, saying these words together. May faith in the spirit of life, hope for the community of earth, and love for the sacred in one another be ours now and in all the days to come. Blessed be.